You're listening to Co-Parenting with Grace, the podcast for families raising kids across two homes. I'm your host, Jody Grace, wife, bonus mom, professional peacekeeper, and your teammate in this beautiful work of co-parenting. So put that red lipstick on, Grace family, and let's get into it. Welcome back, Grace family, to another incredible conversation here on Co-Parenting with Grace. I am so excited about today's conversation because I get to introduce to you not only a friend, but someone who has walked the road of parenting in both shoes, as a biological dad and as a stepdad. Chad Mitchell is a successful entrepreneur working in the insurance and financial services industry for 15 years.
15 years.
Golly.
Yeah.
He's been dad for 22 and stepdad for almost 15 years.
You bet.
All right. He and his precious wife, Cari, blended their families when their children were young, and their children are almost the exact same ages. The boys are, right?
They are, yeah.
They've even attended the same schools. Chad has navigated both the challenges and the joys that come with that unique dynamic. He is a man of faith and probably one of the most positive people I know. I have no doubt you are going to walk away from this episode feeling inspired. So, Chad, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, Jody. Good to see you. We got to do these more often, I think, so we can just see each other.
Exactly.
Right?
Sit down and a chance to visit without work ringing the phone.
You bet. I get you.
Well, I appreciate you coming and sharing with us. I know that our listeners are going to benefit from this conversation. And if you will, just start by telling us a little bit about you and Cari and how you got together and blending your families and what that looked like in the early years.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about this actually the other day, and, you know, time flies, I think, when you're having fun, right?
True.
When life is going well, time flies. And, you know, we have been together now. Cari and I have been married. We've actually been married 10 years. Mm-hmm. We did things a little backwards, to be honest with you.
I did too.
We raised kids,
Mm-hmm.
built families, and did all of these things first, and then finally decided, you know what, maybe we ought to,
maybe we should
finalize this thing here and get married. So, but no, we've got a wonderful family, and I know everybody says that about their families, but you know, our family is just awesome, and it's been a incredible journey. We've got 4 kids, so I have 2 biological kids. So Audrey and Ryan, loves of my life, man. They are a blessing to me every day. And then I've got 2 stepkids, which are Cari's biological kids, Jory and Nolan. And before you say it, listen, we've got Nolan, who is Cari's son. We've got Ryan, who is my son. So we've got Nolan Ryan in this deal.
Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
It was always weird running through the mall because you know, and there's no way you can say it Ryan Nolan. I mean, you just can't do it. No. So running through the mall, you know, to get these boys, we'd say Nolan Ryan, you know, and everybody, you know, so
like, where?
Oh yeah.
Where's Nolan Ryan?
Yeah. So it was awesome. Just raising these kids together. But now, I mean, Jory's 25.
Wow.
You know, she's 25. She's married. So now I've got this bonus, right? I've got this bonus. I got a son-in-law now, Blake, which he's awesome. So that's a win for me. Yes. And then Audrey's 22, and she's got a boyfriend that's been around forever. Yeah. So I guess we'll claim him too. Aiden, he's awesome. Yes. So it's fun, right? Yeah. It's fun. And you know, and it was exciting getting those kids up to this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. What a different season in life you're experiencing now.
Yeah.
You're seeing the fruits of your labor.
Well, I will be honest with you. The life that we're experiencing now, see, the girls are graduated college. They're out. They're done. Yeah. We don't see them enough. Sure. Unfortunately, we just moved Jory to a different state. Oh, so hopefully we get to see her back soon. But, you know, with Audrey, she is like her dad. Mm-hmm. She works a ton. Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. So we don't see her a ton. We get to see her probably once, twice a week, but that's about it. And then the boys are in college, and they decided to stay local for college. So we don't see them as much as we'd like to, even though they're local, because they're busy, right? Yeah. I mean, they've got college life. Yeah. They both have jobs, and they're just busy. So, Cari and I will sometimes look at each other and just like, okay, well, this is it. I mean,
What
this
do we
is
do
this
now?
is this is what this is what we're doing now. And there's parts of that are really good,
Yeah.
but
You've
both of
earned
us
it.
miss these kids like crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what
I'm
I mean?
sure.
So
But you have raised them in such a way that they will continue to come back.
for sure.
They will. And
Yeah.
that's so wonderful. So, now you've said that your kids are practically the same ages.
Yeah.
The boys even going to the same school, right? When they were younger.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So-
that was always interesting.
Yeah.
I think probably at a younger age, it may have been really cool for them to be at the same school.
Sure.
And about the boys, they've got the same friend group that
Mm-hmm.
they've had ever since they started elementary school.
Wow.
So this friend group, and now it's expanded a little bit, but for the most part, you got this nucleus friend group, and I think there's probably like 5 or 6 boys in it, and they all went to school together, and they've still stayed connected over the years,
How
and
nice.
it's still the same friend group.
Yeah.
Right. So that was always fun and exciting because, it was always the same birthday parties. It was always the same, hey,
Yeah.
we're going with the boys. That's what they call them, the boys. So,
Yeah.
and even today, I mean, these boys will show up and they play this Settlers of Catan game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they all go down to the basement and play this game, but
Yeah.
no, they're still all together. So it's awesome.
I love that. That is awesome. Well, I'm sure, growing up that close in age, and when they did come together, having this new brother, new sister, I'm sure that brought both positives and complexities. So
Yeah.
tell me a little about that.
Well, the positive side of it was like a sleepover every night,
Sure.
right, with the boys, because
Yeah.
at the age when we became together, the boys were 3, 4, some
Oh,
around
yeah.
there.
So
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
remember life without each other.
Yeah, so that was just kind of a thing, right? And I remember we built a house back in 2011,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember Cari saying, "Hey, listen, let's put the boys together. We'll finish the basement later, and then we'll build out
Yeah.
of the rooms." Probably a week into moving into this brand new house with the boys in the same room, she's like, "We got to finish the basement." I mean, we got to
It's a
finish
real
the basement.
woman thing to say, isn't it?
She's like, it's like a sleepover every
They're
single
just
night.
partying in there.
And it was.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at that time in life,
Mhm.
as your younger parents,
Yeah.
things tend to stress you out just a little bit more.
Sure.
But now you think back about it and it's like, man, wasn't that the coolest time?
Absolutely.
awesome.
I hope I can get there. I am in that early parenthood phase where
Yeah.
I am the one who probably stresses more in this household. And, my husband will say that like, chill out. Even so they are staying up a little late. They're in there having fun. Listen to them laugh. And, and I'm like, oh my God, but they're not going to get up for school on time. They're going to be grumpy in the morning when I go to take them. And so I need to remember that, these seasons of life are so short.
For sure.
And to just sit back
Yeah.
and enjoy them. So your boys were kind of, I'm raising twins.
Yeah.
My boys are 6, they'll be 7 here in the next month. And so I'm sure it was a lot like that.
It was in some respects, and in
Yeah.
other respects, it wasn't. Even with the girls, right? So the
Mhm.
girls were older, right? So they were older. I believe Audrey was probably 6, and maybe Jory was 9,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around there, 6,
Yeah.
9, somewhere around there. So it was different with them,
Mhm.
just because they were more mature than the boys,
Sure.
of course, but. It was different. And the other thing that's different is I don't know if you could find that these sets of kids
Mm-hmm. are
are polar opposites.
Really?
They just are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Audrey and Ryan they're very, for the lack of better terms, they're pretty introverted.
Yeah.
Right. They can be on their own and
Yeah.
be fine and
Mhm.
kind of their deal. Jory she's probably a little bit introverted, but not a ton. She's pretty social.
Pretty
right?
outgoing,
She's pretty
yeah.
social, always a ton of friends, knows everybody, those kind of
Yeah,
things. And
absolutely.
she married a guy that is just like her.
Social
right?
butterflies.
They're
Yeah.
social butterflies. And Nolan, for the longest time, I thought he was a social butterfly,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, man, this kid, says some of the most off the wall things, just very intuitive, very,
Yeah.
very, very outspoken with
Yeah.
a lot of things and those kind of things. but he's an introvert too, I think. And I think he really has to work at it to be extroverted, to be honest with you. So
absolutely.
But no, it worked. It worked really well, not without challenges.
Sure.
But even their differences, I think helped each other. Helped each other as far as the kids go.
Yeah.
Because I credit Jory with maybe bringing Audrey out of her shell a little bit at a younger age.
Yeah.
And I credit Nolan with maybe bringing Ryan out of his shell.
You
know, we would always say Nolan had all the crazy ideas.
Yeah.
And Ryan would do them. Yeah. So Nolan would come up with the ideas and Ryan would do them.
That sounds like my boys for sure. I've got one that is always saying, hey, maybe we should do this. And the other one that's saying, oh, I'll try it. I'll jump off the top of that.
Yeah.
I also find that with kids close in age, it's really tough for them to be individuals. I know with, my twins specifically, it's tough for them to, if one of them's playing soccer, then the other one thinks he has to play soccer. Mm-hmm. If one of them, it's just tough for them to find that individuality. Do you ever find that with your blended kids?
Oh yeah. Even still today. Yeah. More so probably with the boys.
Yeah.
Than with the girls. And it's not a bad thing, right?
Sure.
But it's always, I think sometimes the struggle is maybe one always trying to keep up with the other one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that can be a struggle from time to time. Probably more so for my son, Ryan,
mm-hmm.
than for Nolan. And that's not a bad thing. You know, it's just trying to figure out, hey, what's the role here? Where do I fit?
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And over the years, that has changed a ton.
Yeah.
But even now, I mean, oh my gosh, the boys will be 20 next year. And even now today, it's so interesting because I'll listen to them talk.
Yeah.
And they're just interested in a lot of the same things, but then they also have their own individuality.
Right, which is so nice.
Nolan's going to school for child psychology.
Oh, wonderful.
Right?
Yeah.
And Ryan's going to school for cybersecurity. You can't get more different.
Totally opposites,
right?
yeah.
But it fits both of those things, fit them both.
Yeah.
So it's so cool.
That is really cool. That's really cool. Well, so you've been both stepdad and biological dad, as we've talked. Which is something I hear from a lot of parents, step-parents in particular. It can be incredibly hard trying to balance your relationship with your stepkids, your relationship with your biological kids. So what are some of the unique challenges and blessings that have come with wearing both of those hats?
I went in thinking about this. It's probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done as far as being a stepdad. And those things, it's been really rewarding. Might be one of the more challenging things that I've done.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's been great, and not challenging to the standpoint of having rough stepkids. Not at all, man. I had awesome stepkids.
Right.
Very, very well behaved, very smart individuals. Yeah. No problems whatsoever. The challenging part was, my influence probably wasn't with them what it is with my biological kids.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
And that's okay, but I never wanted to be a replacement for dad.
Yeah.
I just wanted to complement dad.
Absolutely.
That was my whole goal. It wasn't always that though, Jody, if I'm being honest with you. If I'm being completely honest with you, maybe in the beginning phases, it might have been this push-pull kind of thing, this really challenging environment. And that was not their dad's fault, or that was not their fault. That was on me.
Sure.
Right? When they came into my life, I was coming out of probably one of the darkest periods of my life. Yeah. Right? Going through a divorce, which that one's on me. Right? Yeah. Going through a divorce, going through some challenges with just being a dad at a young age, right? I had to get through some things, right? And in the beginning, it was all about me, right? It was all about me. How can I rise to the top of the corporate ladder just as quick as possible? Sure. And I made such a wake of just bad things behind me in doing that that I probably wasn't as prepared as I should have been to be a dad and B, a stepdad.
Right. Right.
So going through some of those trials and tribulations and going through some of those obstacles, I credit my wife for this because she really, she honed me in on that stuff, man.
Yeah.
She made me such a better dad, and she made me what I feel like probably a decent husband, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I wasn't the first time, but I got a second shot,
Right.
right? I got a second shot to do it. And I credit her with that because she just did a really good job of getting me straightened out. And it was not through the form of, well, you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way. No, it's just learning how to be present, right? Learning how to be present, learning how to be there for the kids, and learning how to be there for the times that mattered the most.
Yeah.
Right. So I also credit Jory and Nolan, my stepkids, with kind of helping me with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I got to watch them interact with their dad.
Yeah.
And there were times, and I'll give him credit as well. He kind of helped me through that,
Yeah.
of just learning a different way to do things versus just it always have to be my way.
Right.
Learning a different way and a different perspective. So, man, I give their dad credit for that. I give them credit for that. And my wife, man, she helped me a ton.
She's a gem.
With just becoming a better dad.
Yeah. She's a gem of a human.
She is. She's awesome.
Gosh, that resonates so much with me.
Yeah.
Talking about, I find my husband and I now we're older parents,
Mm-hmm.
but we're first time parents. And so I find that we are doing some growing up together. We are learning, by getting things wrong and then, doing it a different way. You grow, but I applaud you for being able to recognize that, that started with me. I was coming out of this dark place, and you were willing to do the hard work. And I think that's where a lot of people miss out. That's where a lot of people dig their heels in and say, it's not me. It's not what, I'm not changing. I'm right.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be willing to look and say, what's my part in all of this? If this isn't working, it takes two to tango, right? Or more in a blended family. So what is my part in this? What can I control what am I bringing to the table? Am I bringing my best self? And we're human. Nobody's perfect, but you have to be willing to acknowledge I'm not perfect. Secondly, you say that you credit their dad, for allowing you to see that a different perspective. Maybe my way isn't the right way. Gosh, I've learned that so much in my relationship. I came in, like I said, I met my husband, I was 38. And so I had a whole life before him, a lifetime. And I had one way of doing things, and that was the way that I did them. So when I came into this marriage and came into this parenting role, I thought, well, this is the way I'm going to do things. And you have to step back and recognize that it's not just about you. There's another party here. There's two little people here, and you have to be willing to look at things through a different lens. I use that a lot. We all see things through our own lens based on our own experiences. But when you enter this partnership and you enter this co-parenting journey, everybody has their own lens, and you got to be willing once in a while to pick up the other person's lens and say, okay, I see how you would see it that way or understand it that way.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for teaching me,
Yeah. The great poet Mike Tyson said that everybody comes into this thing with a plan until you get punched in the face.
That's exactly right.
And,
yeah.
I probably had a plan of, well, this is how I'm going to do it. But the reality of it is you got to get out of your own way first.
You do.
And kind of a challenge for me, and if I could go back and redo it all again the first 5 years, I would probably redo the first couple years.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't redo any of the rest of it.
Yeah.
But the first couple years I'd redo because I had to check myself.
Yeah.
Right. I had to get myself straight. Would I redo anything else? Bits and pieces of it.
Sure.
But for the most part, I think we did okay.
Absolutely. And you learn so much.
Absolutely.
You are who you are because of the experience that you had and
Yeah.
the way that it unfolded. So,
Yeah.
well, God, I mean, that's such good insight. And, no doubt being a stepdad came, like we say, with learning moments.
Yeah.
Did you find that being a stepdad shaped or softened the way that you showed up as dad or vice versa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. My upbringing, I was raised by two wonderful parents.
Mm-hmm.
They were married 47 years. Unfortunately, my dad passed away a couple years back, but two wonderful parents, and raised in a small town.
Yeah.
And it was different than kind of what my kids have probably went through. My kids have
Right.
lived in the smallest town they lived in is 100,000 people. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just different
Totally.
than how I was raised. But one of the things that I really gathered from my upbringing was my dad really showed us how to love.
Mm.
Right? My dad,
Which is huge.
he loved his kids, and they knew it.
Yeah.
They knew it 100%. And that was one of the things that I really wanted to make sure that I passed on to not only my biological kids, but also my stepkids as well. So that helped as far as the upbringing goes. The other thing is as a family, when I was growing up, we would always sit down and have these, we'd have meals together,
Yeah.
which was kind of a thing. And I just thought that's what everybody did.
Right.
But what I've learned is not everybody does that,
Mm-mm.
right? Not everybody does that. So, and we didn't get to do that every time because my father's job was very demanding,
Yeah.
right? So he worked a ton, and it was kind of an inconsistent schedule. He was a railroader,
Yeah.
so he was gone for 2 days and then maybe home for one, and gone for 3 days and then maybe home for one. So, but every time he was home, we were always together eating as a family. And even when he wasn't home, we still did that occasionally. So that was one thing that kind of helped shape the way that I wanted to raise my family.
Yeah.
As far as how it changed me with being a better biological dad for Audrey and Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
I think just maturity, I think, number one, helped with that.
Yeah.
Number two, like I've already said, just being present, being in the moment, something that Cari really helped me with, and helped me to understand. But also, I always wanted to be the best version of myself for those kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you have this expectation in your mind of, okay, here's what a dad should be,
Yeah.
sometimes you can get disappointed with how you actually are sometimes, right?
Sure.
And I think I experienced some of that, with my expectation of, okay, here's what a dad should be. Sometimes I felt like I didn't hit the mark on that, but definitely I feel like that I'm a better father today as a result of being a stepfather all these years, for sure.
Yeah. It's a learning experience. And because our influence, you and I talked about that earlier, like your influence is a little different with your stepkids than obviously it is with those you have had since birth. It allows you to approach things softer when you don't have that total control.
It does.
So
it does.
Yeah.
For sure.
You give grace, right?
You do. And as the kids get older, dealing with now a 25-year-old, that even changes much more.
Wow. Yeah.
Just because, Jory's 25, she's married, she's out of the house. My influence is not, it's waned a lot.
Sure.
And sometimes I think that I try to inflict that influence like she was still 16.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's hard not to.
And a great mentor of mine told me that once your kids leave the house, the best thing that you can possibly do is leave the welcome mat out and keep your mouth shut.
That's right.
And I've tried to do that. I'm not good at it yet, but I'm working on it.
Right.
Thank you to my lovely wife for
Yes.
helping me get to there. And also thank you for my stepdaughter. She calls me out when she needs
Yeah.
to. So
Listen here.
for sure. So thanks for that as well. But no, it's the influence, that's a big piece of being a step parent. And you just have to understand that, you don't need to have 100% of the influence.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You don't need to, because there are other people in that whole situation that need to have a voice as well.
Right.
And probably, to be honest with you, their voice is a little bit more important than yours in some cases.
It is. Yeah. And I love that you say that I don't need to. I don't need to have that influence. That's something I'm really working on.
Yeah.
For me, I don't have any biological children. So my boys are my children.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would be in the position to not be the number one mom, be the one to make the decisions for my kids, and that has really been a struggle for me. But the better relationship that I have with my co-parent, the easier it is for all of us to make decisions together. When we have that shared respect for one another, my opinion weighs more, and it's wonderful to get to that place. I'm sure with having, like you said, you've been, your girls are 25, 23, they're older. What does the step parent role look like now? I mean, you've mentioned some of it, but what does that look like going to a wedding, as stepdad versus going to t-ball games?
It was awesome.
I bet.
And a lot of people don't think that it would be, and I was really nervous about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I bet.
Jory, my stepdaughter, she did awesome with that.
Yeah.
She did, and I think she was really intentional about that as well.
Sure.
And it was, you think, okay, well, who's going to walk her down the aisle and all these things. I mean, I played music at her wedding. I accompanied one of her friends who sang at the wedding, so I got to do that. I got to do, I got to see her, this first look situation.
Oh, nice.
She set up time with her dad. She set up time with me. Man, she ruled the roost on that deal.
Knocked it out of the park.
She knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
I couldn't have asked for anything better. So that for me, and it's not going to go that way for everybody.
Sure.
But I attribute a lot of that to her. But I also attribute a lot of that to probably her father, because he could have thrown a stink about the whole thing, right?
Sure.
I mean, he could have got upset about that whole thing, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And I think my relationship with him, we're about as opposite as you could be, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But we're not. Our relationship is not like a friendship buddy relationship.
Sure.
We're dad and we're stepdad.
Right.
And we work within those confines. And, I feel like we do a pretty good job at it.
Yeah. It's finding what works.
Yeah.
I think that people think you either need to be friends or you need to be enemies. And it doesn't have to be that way.
There's a middle ground that works really well.
That's exactly right. And it can be finding a place of contentment. You're just being content with where you're at, with who you are, with what your roles are, and having that mutual respect.
Yeah.
I think you also need to give yourself some credit, sir. Jory knocking it out of the park is because of the way she was raised.
Well,
and
I appreciate you saying that.
You have a huge hand in that. So I want to give that credit where credit is due, sir.
Thank you.
You bet. So, growing up in, you and I were raised a lot alike. We both grew up in, what's referred to as the nuclear family, where, parents stay married and raise kids together. And you said your parents were together for 47 years until your dad's passing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. My parents were married 44 years this year. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, having that experience, growing up, you mentioned, the love and the sitting together. And those are also things that I have brought into my family. But how, growing up with that experience, how did it shape the way you approach parenting and step parenting?
Yeah. You know, I think that the couple things that I took from that is number one, always show your kids that you love them.
Yeah.
Right? They need to see that. They need to see that, and they need to see, you know, I still tell them today. You know, I still hug them, and you know, I still do that today,
Yeah.
even at the ages that they're at right
Absolutely.
now. And I think they are all aware how much we care for them.
Yeah.
Right? They're all aware of that. The other side of that is just showing up and being present as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
You know, this world is hectic and it is chaotic, and there are so many things that can take our time.
Yeah.
Right? Whether that be a cell phone or a tablet or those things. And if Cari was here, she'd look at me and she'd roll her eyes at me about the cell phone because I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm
not good at putting that thing down. So I've gotten much better. Still a ways to go though. But just being present there. And one of the things that, you know, my dad's job demanded so much from him, and he did such a good job of providing for his family that he wasn't at a lot of the functions that I had.
Right.
I mean, it's not that he didn't want to be.
Sure.
He couldn't.
He was providing.
Right? He was providing, and he was just running the rat race. You know, he was just running hard at all the things.
Yeah.
And I've really been intentional about trying to show up and be there as much as I possibly could for all of these kids, for everything that they had going on, whether that be a sporting event or whether that be a concert or you know, whatever that might be. Always did as much as I could to show up because it matters to them, number one. And number two, I know in the beginning, I'm like, okay, well, we got another concert or I got another ball game. But at the end of the day, now that I look back, that stuff meant as much to me as it did to them. I just didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think pulling some of that out and making sure to just always be present there. And again, show your kids you love them, and that's what you got to do.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think that we had such a strong foundation to pull from, you know, and talking about the love that your dad showed for you and your siblings. I think that is such a missed opportunity in families. Yeah. Moms are typically known as the lovers, the nurturers, the caretakers, but dads, you have no idea the weight that you carry. Yeah. No idea. You know, I was talking to a little girl that does my hair. She was talking recently about, she's probably 20 years old, you know, 21. And her boyfriend was not, you know, he's not listening to me. He's not, you know, giving me what I need. He's not. And I told her, I said, you know, you are like me. You have a dad that did such an incredible job that it will be so hard to find someone that meets that mark. Yeah. You know, because her dad, my dad, your dad showed so much love. I had such a loving father as well. I have such a loving father as well. And that's what took me until I was 38 years old to find the right person, because I measured everyone up to him and the love that he showed my mother, the love that he showed me and my sister. And that's huge for kids, for dad to show that love. Yeah. I feel like men can be fear vulnerability and fear that it's a lot of times seen as a weakness, you know, in men. Society has taught us that. And man, dads, the more you can tell your kids, I love you, the more you can show them that affection, even at age 25. Yeah. Kids never stop being your kids. If you're proud of them, tell them you're proud of them. If you love them, tell them you love them. Because, man, it goes a long way for a kid.
I'd like to think so. Yeah. I'd like to think so. And, you know, if they were here today, that they may tell us similar, but yeah. I'd like to think so that's really helped shape who they are. Yeah. Number one, but also number two, that they understand exactly how dad feels.
Yeah. Well, look, it's shaped who you and I are.
Oh, for sure.
You know, you and I knew we were loved. Yeah. And it has allowed us to give that same to our children. Yeah. And when you don't have that, it's hard to give it when you didn't receive it. It's an odd feeling. So, it's hard to come into this journey. You've talked about before, not having any experience, and when we were raised in that unit household with mom, dad, siblings, there's no guidebook when you jump into this step parenting role or blending families role. So, how did you use the way you were raised, obviously, to navigate this? To, what differed for you jumping into this blended family role?
It was tough, Jody. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It was tough because there is no guidebook, and let me be real. There's no guidebook for you as a stepdad, you as a stepmom, or step grandparents, step aunts, step uncles, step nieces, nephews. I mean, there's no guidebook for anybody.
Right.
And when you think about...
And it affects everybody.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I don't know, and kind of off tangent here, I don't know what the divorce rate is now. It's got to be really high.
It's at least 50%.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So 50%. So you think about the number of people this is going to touch over the next, and listen, it's just going to get worse.
Oh,
Let's be honest with you.
Right.
It's just going to get worse. So you think about the number of people this is going to touch over the next 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, the number is astonishing.
Yeah.
So, the guidebook is kind of giving yourself grace a little bit, right?
Yeah.
No pun on words there, but giving yourself a little bit of grace and understanding that there's not a right way and a wrong way to do this.
Right.
But there is some things that you can do to kind of make it a little bit easier. And based off of my experience, the thing that you have to do is, number one, you got to put your kids first. Yeah. Right? You got to put your kids first, and you got to check your stuff at the door when you get in this. And when you sign up to be a step parent, or when you sign up to be a stepdad or a stepmom, you realize that you're in this. Yeah. Right? You're in this for the good, for the bad, for the ups, for the downs, because you're going to have some.
That's right.
Right? So you got to put your kids first, right? So what is most important for the kids versus what is most important for me, or what is my agenda versus somebody else's agenda, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that growing up in the household that I grew up in, we didn't have anything that I had to worry about with one agenda versus the next. It was just mom and dad. Yeah. But what I learned about that was the ability to, sometimes growing up in a small house. I mean, we grew up in a small house, about 1,300 square foot with one bathroom and 5 of us in there. Well, you had to figure out how to compromise real quick, right? Yeah. You had to figure out how to compromise. So learning that growing up, I think my parents probably helped me with that a lot. Yeah. Learning how to compromise, learning how to be flexible, learning how to, sometimes you got to think on your feet. Yeah. Right. And one of the things that my parents were always really good at is they had really high expectations for us. Yeah. Right. They had high expectations for us. You're going to get good grades in school. You're going to work hard. And you know what? My parents taught me how to work. Yeah. They taught me how to work. They gave me the work ethic. They gave me the drive. And when you step into this parenting role, when you step in this step parenting role, you got to work, right? It's not a physical work. Sometimes it is, right? But for the most part, it's not a physical work. It's a mental strain. It is from time to time. Not a bad strain. It's a good strain, but it is a mental work to try to balance out everything. Yeah. Right? How do you do this? We always were very intentional about trying to give the kids their own individual time. Yes. Whether that be Audrey and I, or Ryan and I. Just recently, we took each one of these kids on their own individual trip. So they got to pick. Nice. They got to pick where they wanted to go. And it was just Jory and her mom, just Nolan and her mom. And not together, separate trips. So we had 4 separate trips here we got to do. How fun. That was really intentional from our standpoint, because we really wanted to spend the individual time. When the kids were young, and you have all these parenting schedules. Sure. You got this parenting schedule. Who's got it this day and who's got it this day? Man, what a mess that is for kids, to be honest with you. I mean, if you think about that, well, what day are you at this person's house, or what day at this person's house? So such a mess. We tried to make that as easy as possible. And to be honest with you, we lined these schedules up to where all of these kids were together all the time.
Love that.
And that was good for structure. It was good for what we had going on for our family.
Mm-hmm.
Where that kind of tends to fall apart at is, how do you show each individual kid the individualized attention?
Yeah.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, if the kids were here and you were to say, hey, did you like this schedule or did you not? I got to believe, based off of their interactions with each other, I don't think they'd have it any other way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit more individualized time, but I think we did the best that we could to try to show them their own individualized attention. So.
I love that. That we do that here too. We'll have a Saturday where I'll take one of the boys and we'll have a day date, and the other one will go with dad. But yeah, gosh, schedules are so tricky. My boys nearly every morning when they wake up say, is it a daddy day or is it a mommy day? Yeah. And that is a challenge that I did not face, and it breaks my heart. For sure. So I do the same. I just try my best to make it smooth and easy. And, the other day my husband asked, not in a snarky way at all, just, why do you ask that, every morning? What is your, and he says, well, I need to know if I need to pack my stuffy to go to mom's, and it's like, gosh, yes, like your life is constantly moving back and forth. So we have to focus on the kids and make it as easy as we can for them, because they didn't ask for this. Yeah. So I love that you guys had, were able to have them the same times. And my family appreciates that we have ours the same weekends, the same weeks as my sister has hers. So my sister is divorced as well and has a blended family. So yeah, it's really nice when you can, count on those Christmases and count on those holidays together, and everybody can be there together and give them the most love, the most, connected feeling they can when they are with you.
Well, I will tell you what, these kids of ours, I know they're loved, not just by dad, not just by mom, but man, it is, I was thinking about this on the way up here, and all of these kids, super smart, have graduated with high grades, all of them working. We haven't had to go to jail to pick anybody up, right? Yet, and I don't think we're going to.
Yeah, we've almost cleared that.
I mean, the worst thing we've had to deal with is a speeding ticket and an accident, and that's nothing.
Yeah.
But it took every single person involved. It took my ex-wife.
Yeah.
It took Cari's ex-husband. It took his new wife, who is their stepmom.
Yeah.
It took the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles. It takes everybody.
It does.
To make this thing work. And I will tell you that, based off the fact that everybody pulled together to make this work, those kids know they're loved. And if you don't believe that they weren't, I mean, the Christmases that those kids went through. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I know, right? How many different ones,
Oh my Lord. It was a lot.
Spoiled. That's what I tell my kids. You're spoiled.
Yeah.
You got far more than I got. I tell them all the time, I was like, how lucky you are. You have 2 moms. Yeah. Like, I only had 1.
Yeah.
You talk about being in a good, peaceful place with your co-parenting relationships now. And that includes, your stepkid's dad and your kid's biological mom.
Yeah.
So what did it take to get there?
Me getting out of my way.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I struggled in the beginning. I just did. And why do you struggle in the beginning? Okay, well, there's an obvious reason why I struggled in the beginning. Unfortunately, it was money. Yeah. Here I am paying out all this child support and blah, blah, blah. That just gets in the way.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It just gets in the way. So that was a struggling part there in the beginning, right? The other struggling part was, well, obviously you didn't work out as a married couple, right?
Right.
So, there were some struggles there, and there were some struggles there as far as, okay, well, I don't have to put up with that anymore and all this stuff. And to be honest with you, if I were to line all that stuff up, I could look right in the mirror and I could just say, you know what? That's on you.
Right.
So I had to get straight with me first, right? So I had to own my stuff. And once I was able to own my stuff, then it made things a little smoother. Were there still obstacles from time to time? 100% there were obstacles from time to time. But I think the turning point for me was, and I don't even remember what was going on, but it was at one of these drop-off pickup times, situations. And I can't even for the life of me remember. It must have not been that important because I can't remember what it was. But it was something, and there was a disagreement between me and my ex-wife, right? Shocker. There was a disagreement between me and my ex-wife. And I look over, and I see my kids crying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, my kids didn't ask for this.
Right.
They didn't ask for their parents to get a divorce. They didn't ask for anything, and we're doing everything we can now to make it better for the kids, because that's what we always said.
Right.
It's better for the kids, and yet we're still bringing the same trauma on the kids.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And at that moment right there, and at that moment, in a stern conversation from my wife, now, I think things started to flip.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't perfect, but it got a little better. And a little better, and a little better, and a little better. And as the kids mature, as the kids get older, the communication between me and my ex-wife, or Cari and her ex-husband, it's less and less and less, right? We still communicate on the things that are important. We still have to. I mean, we just planned a wedding and went through a wedding. That was some communication we had to go through, right? But it's more than about, okay, what's best for the kids, as opposed to about, okay, well, did you bring this shirt back, and this shirt, and this pair of socks, and
where's the football gear?
I mean, and the reality of it is, now that I'm looking back at it, all the things that were creating issues was such minor stuff.
Trivial.
I mean, for crying out loud, go buy another pair of socks. Right. It'll be okay.
Exactly.
It's going to be okay.
Exactly. Gosh, I've had to learn that for sure the hard way. In my next episode, I sit down with my biological mom, my boy's biological mom. I know, I'm so excited to bring those episodes. It's a 2-part, and she and I talk, we talk honesty. We talk, and I tell her, I said, yes, there was a time I used to get so frustrated when you wouldn't send the clothes back in time, and she's like, and I'm over here just trying to survive. They're in a pile of clothes somewhere, and it's like, you have to learn to know that while I'm over here trying to survive, and I'm over here trying to control what I can control, she's over there trying to survive too. Yeah. Your co-parent is out there, whether you like them or not, whether you agree with them or not, they're human too, and they have their own traumas, and they are trying to survive. And I think the more grace we show each other, the easier it gets to heal what we need to heal.
For sure.
She and I talk about, we just in this last year have, crossed the top of the mountain, and are sliding back down. We're in a great spot, and it took both of us doing some really deep inner work. Right. And we didn't know that we were both doing it at the same time. It wasn't like this intentional, like, hey, you work on you, I'm going to work on me, but we found that we were both, working on ourselves, and like you say, getting out of our own damn way. Yeah. Because that is what causes 99% of the issues.
For sure.
So.
And again, the issues that you thought were issues then, Jody, they're so small.
I know. I can't
They're so small. They're so small. Exactly. So I will say, just as you are raising the boys, things that you think are a big issue, like them maybe staying up a little bit too late and all those kind of things, for the most part, it's by the wayside. Right. You won't even think anything about it tomorrow.
Exactly. So. Exactly. And my co-parent reminds me of that. She has children that are 23 and 22. And so she says, where I don't get work. Sometimes she said, I feel like you're trying to pull me with you sometimes to get worked up about something. And she said, I don't get worked up about it because I've been there. Yeah. I've seen what it's like to survive 6-year-olds. I've seen what it's like to survive 14-year-olds, and so she definitely helps me with that in staying, remembering this is a season. the hards change, they don't go away per se, but they change. They get a little more manageable. So,
They do.
Have you found that even in getting yourself right, doing the inner work for you, that you're still met with unhealed co-parents that still complicate matters unnecessarily? And how do you keep a positive outlook when you're met with that?
I don't think intentionally.
Yeah.
No, I don't think intentionally. I think unintentionally that can happen.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
I think unintentionally that can happen, and you can get frustrated, and you can get upset about it, and those kind of things. And the hard part about that is it can create so much friction and chaos in your own individual marriage. Right?
Yes.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
Right? That's the tough part, because, well, did you hear what they did, or did you see what she did, and all this stuff? And what ends up happening is the thing that you come home to for comfort and those things, you end up creating some issues in that. So now not only do we have issues with the step parents, not only did we not creating this drama amongst yourself, and now you got issues with your married spouse.
Now you're fighting with each other. Yeah.
And it's just, if I just would have known some of the things, some of the obstacles prior to going through it, I think I probably could have saved myself some frustration.
I'm sure.
So I go back to, no, not intentionally. They're not causing intentional problems.
No.
It's all the unintentional things that happen. And, at the end of the day, and I know I sound like a broken record, it's probably really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
The hardest part about this whole thing, whether you're a step parent or a stepdad, a stepmom, or co-parenting, whatever it is, the hardest part about this whole ordeal, in my opinion, is probably going to be finances when it comes right down to it. Right?
Yeah.
Well, finances is one of the number one causes of divorce. Well, why wouldn't it be an issue for co-parents?
Absolutely.
Right? It is what it is. Right? So that's probably one of the number one things that are out there. And, for the most part, I think if you just communicate and everybody keep a level head on how this is going. Listen, we know it takes a lot of money to raise kids. We just realize that it does. Right? So understanding that from the standpoint of, okay, it's going to take a lot. And number two, understanding that it may not be 100% equal 100% of the time. Right? So if you can get those two pieces in check, and then just be respectful of one another, man, I just think that things might work out a little bit better. Now, I'm not living in a fairy tale world either, right? That doesn't always happen.
Sure.
Right? But you have to communicate. And if something's on my mind regarding my stepkids, meaning, man, I don't think we should be paying for that, or I don't think we should be, well, who do I have to communicate with that? Well, first I got to start with my wife. Right? I have to start with my wife first, because she is the one that's helping make those decisions as well. Yeah. Right? So I start with her first, and then I get her take on it. Right? And if she's like, just get over it, then I'm just like, okay, well, I got to get over it. You know what I mean? So communication, number one, with your spouse, or if you don't have a spouse, communication with an ex-spouse in those financial situations, man, that's key. Yeah. And also, don't do that in front of the kids. For crying out loud, don't do that in front of the kids. No. Just because they've had enough. You know what I mean? They don't need any more.
That's a weight they don't need to carry.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Something we haven't touched on yet, Chad, is your faith. Yeah. It is a big part of who you are. I know that about you. It is for me too. And you lead worship at your church. Is that right?
I do.
You still? Yeah, I love that. I have always shared a love for music and singing. So I love that you get to express that in your weekly worship. How has your relationship with God influenced the way you approach blended family life and co-parenting?
Well, I can tell you my relationship with God in the early years wasn't there. Yeah. And the change in me, probably that was a big impact in it. Yeah. Right? So that was a big impact in it. The other thing is I feel like that we have a really important job for our kids. If you are faith believing and you believe in God and those kind of things,
Mm-hmm.
I set it out as my goal as that one of the top jobs I have as a parent is to make sure that my kids had a relationship with Jesus Christ. That was it. And that was a really important piece of what I wanted to do. And, those kids have been through a lot when it comes to all the ups and downs of co-parenting and divorce and all the things, right? But I will say that that's probably one of the consistents that they've always had.
Yeah.
Right. They've always had that consistent of being surrounded in a faith believing home.
Yeah.
In a home that tried to put God at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We prayed together. We ate together. I mean, the kids say this prayer every night at meal. And they've done it ever since the boys were 3 and the girls were 6 and 9, and they still say the same prayer.
Do it. Yeah.
It's so interesting. When they pray at family functions, when the kids were young, my father-in-law, bless him, he can't hear the best anyways. But when the kids were young, they would always say it real fast, and so they still say this same prayer. And he looks at me the other day and he goes, "I don't know how many years they've been saying this prayer. I still don't know what they say." You know what I mean? So it's really important for me to make sure that they had that foundation. Yeah. Now, if Jory and Blake, who are married now and they're off on their own, if they would have chosen, you know what, this is just kind of not our deal, then that's not on me. I did everything I could to get them there.
Yeah.
But they didn't choose that.
Right.
They've already plugged into a church. They've plugged into small groups, those kind of things, and that's and what's tough about that sometimes, Jody, is they may not have the same influence on that at their biological parents' house, meaning my ex-wife or Cari's ex-husband's house.
Right.
Maybe believers, but maybe they don't attend church. I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes that's tough.
Right.
Right. But you just have to keep putting your best foot forward and understanding that this is kind of what we believe in here. And giving the kids the best opportunity to make the best decisions for themselves as they get older.
Absolutely. And it gives them hope.
For sure. You got to have hope in something.
Absolutely.
Right? This old world will beat you down if you don't have hope in something.
It will. And I have always said, and I'm not trying to save the masses here, but I have always said, we have a whole lot more to lose by not believing and having hope and faith in Jesus than we do. We don't,
Amen.
A whole lot more to lose by not believing.
Yeah.
So my boys and I have created a wonderful nighttime routine, and every time they're here, when I, came into this family, my husband read them stories every single night. That was their thing. He reads books, and then, I looked to create my own thing. So I sing songs with my boys. So I go in after Dad has read books, and then I lay down with them, and we start with a prayer. It's a prayer that I said when I was a kid, and I still say it as a 42-year-old every single night. Yeah, and that's awesome. And now my kids do it. And so I love that. And same goes, I appreciate that their mother and their father have allowed me to, teach them my love for Christ and take them to church with me. And, because a kid can never have too much love. A kid can never be poured into too much. So
never can.
No, exactly. So, even in the tough moments, Chad, you carry such a positive outlook. I know you said that has come with work. Yeah. But as someone who had known you now for more than a decade, can you believe that? You are one of the most positive and seemingly happy people I have ever known. And where does that come from?
Or my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is she's a rock star.
Yeah.
All the things that she's gone through, just through life and through, the passing of my father and just all the things, right? I mean, probably her. Yeah. I'm going to give her the credit for that because she deserves it. And it's just, and so mom, and then my wife, she, Cari is she's different than most people her age in the fact that this whole social media trend and all that stuff, I think she might have Instagram. I think it's what she does. And the reason why I know she does this is because she shows me dog videos. So if you were to look at her Instagram and look at all the things she looks at, it's dog videos and it's how to decorate the house, I would say.
Absolutely.
That's what she's looking at. So
Might
she
be
doesn't
similar
watch
to my algorithm.
she doesn't watch the news,
Yeah.
right? She doesn't watch the news, and she just eliminates that stuff from her
Negative.
life.
Yeah.
And that has helped me out a ton. Now with our business, Jody, sometimes we have to get involved in some of that stuff. We just do,
we
right?
do.
But I think looking at it from the perspective of there's always another way.
Yeah.
Right. And number two, what seems like a big issue today, just take yourself a nap, wake up tomorrow, and it's not going to be as big as you originally thought it was.
Right.
Right. And my father also helped me with that. And I think as a grown adult now, and as a guy who's raising his own family, when you bury your parents, that's tough.
I can imagine.
And it will change you for the better or for the worse. And for me, it helped me. I miss my dad like crazy.
Oh, I bet.
But I remember all the things that he taught me and
Yeah.
all the things that he said. And I'm a better person as a result of him.
Absolutely. What a
For sure.
wonderful thing to have had in your life.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, for dads or stepdads who might be in a tough season,
Oh, yeah.
what encouragement would you offer them?
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
All right. Number one, sit down, relax, and just chill. Take some time to yourself. It's going to be okay. Put your kids first, right? You've got to put your kids first. Make it about the kids and try your best not to make it about you. That is tough. But do everything you can to make it about the kids and to make sure that you understand that the things that you say, the actions that you do will possibly have repercussions on the kids that you're raising, whether that be your biological kids or your stepkids. So that's the first thing. Respect and honor your ex-spouse. Respect and honor your spouse's ex-spouse, step-parent. Respect and honor all of that, because that is your team. To raise these kids to be the best versions of themselves in a society that wants them to be something different.
That's right.
Right? So respect and honor those that are on your team. It's tough. It is tough work, right? Now, I could leave here today and there could be something that sets me off, and I can get upset about it, for sure. I'm not perfect at this, but that's what I've learned. It's tough, but guess what, Jody? It's worth it. I got 4 of the best kids a guy could ever ask to have. And it's worth it, every single bit of it. Just remember, you can choose to decide. It's on you, your role that you play in this. When all this is over for all of us, and my kids sit down and they say, if somebody was to ask them about dad, tell me something about your dad. As long as they say, Dad loved me, he loved his wife, and he took care of Mom. That's what I need.
That's it.
That's it.
It's your legacy.
That's it.
I know without a doubt, Chad, that's exactly what your kids are going to say, and your grandkids. I hope so. And you are living in a chapter of life where you are seeing the fruits of your labor. You are seeing the bow being tied on the top. You've made it. And while you still have some co-parenting to do and some different seasons to enter, you are on the other side of the mountain, my friend. And
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. I appreciate you. Thank you for your vulnerability and for giving us a glimpse at what it looks like as the parent-child, the step-parent, stepchild relationship changes with the seasons and with time.
You bet.
Grace is the key, my friends. What I love most about this conversation is how it's highlighted the blend of stability and flexibility, pulling from the foundation of your upbringing while also embracing the unique beauty of a blended family. For those of you listening, I hope you were encouraged by Chad's reminder that parenting, whether as a dad, a stepdad, or both, is about showing up with faith, consistency, and most of all, love. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. As always, thank you for tuning in to Co-Parenting with Grace. And remember, you are doing better than you think. You are not walking this road alone.